welcome to today's video, and thanks for joining me on this drive. Today I've done something unusual. I've actually turned the dashcam safety features off. As in, it won't now alert me to fixed speed red light cameras. Won't allow note or alert me to school zones, and also sort of potential black spots, hopefully. Now the reason is I just want it to be quiet. Really, at the end of the day, I just wanted to take videos. The reason is I was happy to buy the features, ADAS, safety camera features, but they are just so bad that they actually distract me more often than not. So for example, I'm driving along and it tells me there's a school zone ahead. It's right in the middle of the school holidays. There is no school zone. So I'm driving at speed and there's another distraction. Boom. Driving along the freeway, I get notified that there's a speed limit or a speed camera ahead, and just before that it notifies me that and this is on the ring road, that it's 70 kilometers because it's actually, or 70 kilometers an hour. No, that's not fair to say that one. The better example is going down to Berwick on the freeway down there. You get down there and you're going under an underpass or an overpass, and it turns around and you get notified that the speed limit is a lower speed limit. And you think, what's going on? It's actually picking up the speed cameras on the road above, that's near the overpass, not at the overpass, but near the overpass. So with those things, I've just decided. Now the good thing, don't get me wrong, I've replaced all that technology with something else. So from my point of view, I'm not losing anything, because all I'm doing is getting rid of something that nags me with incorrect information. So I've bitten the bullet. I've turned those features off today, so we'll see if it actually makes a noise. I don't think I'm going anywhere near a red light speed camera today. Maybe coming back, but yeah, so you won't hear them make those noises, but certainly other noises about speed zones or whatever. In Whitehorse Road, we always get the notifications there, so we can test that and see that that's actually gone. So that's good. Okay, so now in order to get rid of something, you have to have something better. Now frankly, I think I've written a speed limit alerts web app for my own purposes because I wanted something better, and I think it is better for my purposes. May not be for other people, but for me it does what I want it to do. So that's now running in the background, and so I'm happy with it. It does the job that I want it to do, and I'm happy for other people to use it if it helps you as well. Now if you're not interested in that, Waze is another app that you can use, and Waze is quite a good app. It's actually owned by, originally developed in Israel, bought by Google, and now owned by Google. And Google is progressively incorporating the features that are in Waze into their own maps service, but they're not quite there yet. So for the moment, Waze is probably the better of the two tools for alerting you to fixed cameras, mobile cameras. So first of all, mine doesn't do mobile cameras particularly well because not enough people are using it at the moment. So Waze is better in that respect than my web app that I developed. So now Waze is very good, but it's got a couple of flaws. First of all, the same flaws that every GPS system works. You'll be driving along and there'll be a beep and you think, oh, what's that? And you're wondering, what am I doing wrong? And it took me a long time to actually see this, because it was only when I reviewed my app, which actually the GPS in my app and Waze just match almost perfectly. Well, perfectly from what I could see. Every fluctuation that occurred in mine occurred in the Waze app. I've got a video up on the internet which shows Waze and my app, so you can see when it goes up and down. But what I found in developing my app is I found there's a lot of spurious readings that you get from your GPS. Not a lot, but a number of spurious GPS readings. And sometimes I'll be driving along and my web app would tell me that I'm going too fast, and I clearly wasn't. So that's a spurious GPS reading or calculation based on it. I'm not exactly sure whether it's just an inaccurate one. I didn't check the distance, so it's just, from my point of view, spurious. But Waze has got the same flaw. Some people could call it a feature because it's designed as part of the product, but to me it's a flaw. And what that means is you're driving along, you get beeped as though you're speeding and you're not actually speeding. That's a distraction. So you want to avoid distractions when you're driving, and if your tools are actually distracting you more, then that's a problem. And also, the reporting of speed cameras by Waze users is actually breaking the law, and that's clearly stated by the police. You touch that screen to report speed cameras, you're breaking the law. So you've got to look at that, and if you're going to report speed cameras, how did you do it? So that's the first flaw. Now that's minor because it doesn't happen that often. But one of the things that does happen, and this is by design, is that the editors have actually told their guidance is that if there's a road that has a limit, speed limit, such as we'll see over in Whitehorse Road or Maroon Highway, whatever it's called, the road has two speed limits: the normal speed limit, which is I think 80 kilometres an hour, and then there's a school zone which is 60 kilometres an hour. And Waze will tell you that there's a school zone ahead, and it won't give you the school zone speed, because the Waze editors have been told where there's two speeds, you put in the higher of the two speeds. So all these areas that are popping up everywhere around Victoria, and I assume all over Australia, where they're reducing the speed limits around mostly shops, their time of day. So Waze is getting increasingly wrong, because as you drive up to a shopping area and the speed's been reduced to 40, but the normal speed on the road is 60, you're being told that the speed is 60. Now, there is multiple spots where there's actually speed cameras in those zones. So if you're being told it's 60 and you listen to that, Warrigal Road's a good example. It's 40 at certain times down near the Holmesland College, Warrigal Road and Batesford Road. So if you're driving in that area and told it's a higher speed limit, you could inadvertently take the advice of your phone, which is a really, really bad thing to do when you're going through a speed camera. So those two features, or speed camera schools, I'm over it. So if I didn't have my own web app, I would use Waze, there's no doubt about it. The beep, it's not enough notice for me, it's minor. In addition, the display where it displays the speed limit of the road is so tiny, it's not readable in your normal driving position. So it starts off at a good size and then it quarters down in size. It has a bigger speed, which your car can give you the speed you're going, but the speed limit is the most important thing that your car doesn't give you. So to me, not knowing, well, not being able to check the speed limit, because that's the handy feature of the tools, is to be able to reassure yourself. Like, we go through this light, we see the 70 km/h speed sign, and it's fine. But if we're just not paying attention, looking at something else, checking out the traffic on either side or the cars in front of us doing something, we might not notice the speed camera or the speed sign. Now, what a lot of people think, and I thought it until I investigated speed signs, was that okay, there's going to be another speed sign coming up. Okay, and then I'd wait and wait. No, there's, in my opinion, there's not enough speed signs. You'll see, we're going along here. The next one will probably get us up at near the service station. The shop's up there where it goes down to 60. There might be another one in between. Actually, there's... yeah, good question. So we'll see. I think it's at these shops up here. It's quite a distance. And when you've got mobile cameras everywhere now, and they're increasing those to increase fines / revenue / safety, then here we are. We get our 60 km/h speed zone. And there's a lot of places where there really, to me, isn't enough speed signs. They want us to obey the law, but they don't tell us what the speed is. We're supposed to assume what the speed is when we get onto a major road. So Waze would be good if it increased that speed limit sign. And my web app has got it there, front and centre, large as life. And that's why I built it. And for Victoria, I've got about 80% confidence in the speed limit signs that have been provided by the government's data, and I keep on updating that and have entered thousands of entries and corrections into that data. So my data would far exceed the correctness compared to the government's data now. When it comes to that, I use my own web app now, and I'm happy with that. Happy to get rid of the nags. If you've watched any of my videos recently, you'll hear my web app going bing, bing every time I go past the speed sign. That's for me to check the speed signs, so that when I get home, I can go back in and fix any of the speed signs that I've detected in my drives. Now, I can't drive all over Melbourne or Victoria, so there's going to be speed signs that are incorrect, and well, that's life until somebody tells me that they're incorrect. But I disabled that feature, as you can enable it or disable it. So I just decided to remove the parameter from the command line and run it in what I call development mode, and it's working fine. No beeps. Nice, peace and quiet, except for me talking, of course. So today's talk, which I've taken a long time to get there, I'm wondering, what do you think about mobile phone seatbelt cameras? Mobile phone seatbelt cameras. Huge fines in Queensland. You'd be touching that mobile phone in Queensland. You really should think about what you're doing. It's $1,200. Twice the weekly pension. So if you're a pensioner, there goes your money for the fortnight. And that has happened. I finally realised the other day the government connects safety with law enforcement. They do that because I read once that back in the 1920s, and I can't be sure of my facts here exactly, but the government worked out when it turned around and brought down its budgets and took stuff away, charged people more for things, people were unhappy. The populace was very discontent. So what they found was that if they give something back at the same time, people weren't quite so unhappy with what they'd taken away. So watch it. Every budget we get, it's not about just lifting up beer prices and cigarette prices, because they're indexed now, so it's pretty hard to do that visibly. But at the same time, they will turn around and hand out something like Peter Dutton saying, let's give businesses tax breaks for lunches now, which disappeared decades ago. But let's just take a big step back and bring back the tax deductions where we were told to go out and shout each other lunch and bring back the receipts and claim it as a tax deduction. So businesses are going to bring that lurk back well and truly. So yeah, don't go that way. So what we've got to do is separate the law, enforcing the law, which is you get fined for breaking the law, versus safety, because at the end of the day, the number of people's lives that will be saved by mobile phone cameras, mobile phone seatbelt cameras, is very small. According to Monash University, 100 casualty type accidents will be reduced each year. Now that's quite good until you look at it, somewhere between 6,000 and 8,000 casualty accidents, and the percentage why about 2% of those accidents are actually deaths. So at best we're going to get a reduction of 2%. Now they're hitting a very small section of the deaths, but they're raising hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue a year, and it will soon probably get up to $1 billion a year. It's just a great income stream. So let's forget about that, because yep, they do raise money very well for the government, but let's face it, they're enforcing the law, and that's what it should be all about. Basically, if you do something, you disagree with the law, well, that's another thing. But if you don't do your civic duty and obey the laws, then you're breaking those laws. And in Victoria it's called the Civic Compliance Office, and I finally realised, you don't comply and you get caught not complying, you pay the fine. So we get fined. Mobile phones, usage of mobile phones, a lot of people do it and it's no risk to anybody else. Maybe at lights where you don't take off fast enough, a minor inconvenience to people around you, but geez, people get angry about it. I've seen people on their phone though weaving and nearly hitting a car on the ring road. So whether you think it or not, using a mobile phone is a distraction, and at the wrong time it can be a deadly distraction. But that is a very, very low probability. So they're enforcing the law. That's a good thing. Seatbelts, you don't wear your seatbelt, you're in an accident, and not wearing it, you die. That's your choice. And enforcing the law, all that does is reduce potentially the deaths on the road, which is reducing the government's numbers to make it appear that they're actually reaching their objectives. But again, remember that 100/2% of deaths on the road include seatbelts. So really, the outcome is largely income, like that. The outcome is largely income for the government, and a small reduction or a small improvement in safety for the rest of us. So, so what do you think about mobile phone seatbelt cameras? Am I in favour of it? I am. I just don't think that they do the job. I think it's a waste of taxpayers' money. But if it turns around and gets people off their phones and makes it a more comfortable situation for everybody, because people sitting on their phones here and not paying attention to the lights is uncomfortable, and that can make other people frustrated. So I'm not against them. So don't get me wrong, I'm not anti, but I don't think they're effective, and I don't think they're a good spend of the government's money. So what do you think? Mobile phone seatbelt cameras, good thing, bad thing? Anyway, we're getting here again. Thank you very much for joining me on the trip today. As always, it's a pleasure to make this video available to you, and hopefully it's given you a little bit of food for thought. Until the next video, thank you.